Welcome back, Truth Seeker. April 30th, 2019, the 120th day of the year. For the NBA season, this is going to be the 197th day. That's the 45th prime number. The date numerology that really matters today, 73, 46, 28. Keep in mind, it's the 73rd NBA season. 73, the 21st prime number. Today's lesser date numerology of 53 could also play a role. We saw it factored into the Raptors coach yesterday, who became 5-2 on the lesser 52 date. Also, with regards to the NBA, it's the 30th of the month. Don't forget, 113 is the 30th prime. And when you write out the National Basketball Association, and you spell it correctly, it equals 113. So we'll start off with a bit of review and then get into today's games. All right, so NBA games went as expected yesterday. We were more confident about the 76ers, but we did like the 76ers and Nuggets to win. The 76ers ended that losing streak in Toronto at 14 games. There's another one you can put in the history books. Another streak ends at 14. Nearly every time you see that come up in sports, it's going to end there. We've witnessed a few times where it's gone past it, but almost every time it ends at 14. So Kawhi Leonard began his career again 14-0 against the 76ers. Now he's 14-1. So 76ers got it done. The 76ers coach, Brett Brown, he became 10-7. Raptors equals 107. The Raptors coach became 5-2. These are playoff records, keep in mind. 5-2 in the playoffs on a lesser date numerology of 52. The 76ers, I feel like they had a 52 as well that we covered yesterday. Maybe it was it that they gave them the 52nd loss all time in the head-to-head? It was something like that. There was one other 52 up on the board that went in favor of the 76ers. The Blazers and Nuggets, we pointed out that the last game in Denver, the Nuggets won with 119 points, and here they were meeting on the 119th day of the year, which seemed a little bit favorable for the Nuggets. We talked about how in the regular season, when the Nuggets won that game with 119 points, they got their 53rd win of the season. Portland 53, Trailblazers 53. Mike Malone, with the win last night, became 5-3 in the playoffs. So thought the Nuggets had a little bit better riddle. They did cover the spread too. Remember, the majority of money in Vegas was on the Blazers to cover last night. So the Blazers went down with that oh-so-familiar 1-1-3. Unfortunately, in the NHL, Dallas, who had a good riddle, I mean, they did. They had a good riddle last night. It didn't come through. And like I said, you follow the date numerology, you're probably going to win around 70+% of the time. And it's been a while since we got an NHL game wrong in terms of covering the spread or picking the correct winner. And that streak ended last night. So Dallas Stars, it was a 27-date numerology. They could have got their 27th home win of the season. Their goalie could have picked up his 27th career playoff win. And it didn't seem like there was much on the board for the Blues. But they did win 4-3. St. Louis 43. 43 is the 14th prime. Blues equals 14. Stars equals 14. So you see the rhyme and reason to the score. But unfortunately, the 27 didn't come through. It looked good. Dallas Stars equals 27 too. So we've seen it before. Sometimes a good riddle does not come through. And in the MLB, we were keeping an eye on the Mets and a few other games. The Mets with that oh-so-familiar 57. Let me zoom this in so we can see the home and away records. We were wondering if the Athletics and Red Sox would each become 5-8 home and away. That didn't happen. Again, Oakland's 58, but notice the score, 4-9. Remember, that's another big number in the Bay Area is 49. So, I mean, there's some rhyme and reason to it. We just seen a few Oakland 58 patterns. We were, at least I was hoping it would become 5 and 8, 5 and 8, because again, I want to be able to say, okay, the Oakland 58 thing's definitely hitting. It's already hit quite a few times this year. Doesn't mean it won't happen again, but had it hit here, it'd be like, okay, maybe that's the number to lock into this year for Oakland, the 58s. Cardinals and Nationals. The Cardinals, if they would have lost last night, would have been 5 and 7 away. Nationals is 57. We saw the Nationals do the 5 and 7 thing earlier this year. Didn't come up in that game. The Mets in 57, though. Like I said, I've been documenting the Mets in 57 for all the years that I've been doing this. Here it is again. They're 5 and 7 at home. Mets 57, New York Mets 57, New York City 57. One more time. And scanning. The White Sox did the 6 and 6 thing yesterday. The man who's building the great sports database, which he's finishing up, he had a good decode for the White Sox yesterday. He saw a number of patterns. I think he said something like they got their 1,109th home win, 119 on the 119th day of the year as well. So the White Sox, again, their name equals 57 and 66. So far this year, the 6-6 thing has been coming through more. The Rays and the Royals. The Royals seemingly had a good riddle to win, except for the pitcher, Brad Keller. Let's see if he got the loss yesterday, Brad Keller. He did. And Brad Keller with the loss became 11 and 9 on the 119th day of the year. So that was the one thing going against Brad Keller and the Royals. Had they won, they would have been 7 and 9. Tampa Bay 79. Rays would have been 9 and 3 away. Kauffman Stadium since '93. But that Keller record was concerning. And I don't think we had an opinion on the Giants and Dodgers. But those Mets in 57, that's one riddle seemingly you can count on year after year, even when the rest of the riddles aren't coming through. So that said, let's get into today's games. We got two big games in the NBA. Game 2, Celtics at Bucks. Game 2, Rockets at Warriors. And again, let's go back to that date numerology. 73. It's the 73rd NBA season. We know the Warriors are the team with the most connections to 73. Steph Curry born on the 73rd day of the year. It's their 73rd season. They set the win record for the regular season at 73. If they win the NBA Finals this year, they will have won 73 total games, 57 in the regular season, plus 16 in the playoffs. Don't forget, NBA Finals equals 57. So 73, it is the 21st prime number. Today's other important date numerology is 46 and 28. The lesser numerology of 53 could factor in. I keep forgetting to update the numbers there, and I keep doing the math in my head. Sorry. I don't mean to confuse you guys. But actually, you know what? I might have the hold on. I think I screwed up here. This numerology is 19 today. I take it back. Today's date numerology is 73, 46, 19. I made a boo-boo this morning. Okay. So 19 is the 8th prime number. So we got 2 prime numbers in the date numerology. My fault times 2, but now we're good. 73, 46, 19 with the lesser method, 53. And with that lesser method, it's also a prime number. 53 is the 16th prime. So I think the 73 is going to be extra special today. And with regards to it being the 21st prime number, the way that number could come up today, the Celtics could get their 21st away loss of the season. They haven't lost away yet in the playoffs. They're undefeated so far. They're 5-0 in the playoffs. If they lost today, their away record would be 24 and 21 total on the season. So could the Celtics pick up the 21st loss? Very possible. Overall for the season, they're 54 and 33. That means their next loss would be their 34th. Don't forget, Bucks equals 34, like how their star player for the Bucks. Where's the number 34? We're going to have to definitely measure from his birthday today. Could be a significant alignment. The Bucks on the season are 64-23. And at home, they are 35-9 now. They just picked up their first loss of the playoffs in the last game. They swept their first series as well. Their first loss just came against the Celtics, making them 4-1 in the playoffs. So they're 35-9 right now at home. Unfortunately, their record is not going to go with the date numerology. But the Celtics could if they lost, picking up that 21st away loss on the 73 day. And we're going to look at this game more thoroughly. But just for the other NBA game, the Rockets and the Warriors, if the Rockets were able to win today, they would pick up, or they would stay at 21 away losses. In 73, the 21st prime. So the Rockets right now at 21 away losses, they got 1 against Utah in their first series and 1 in game 1. So they're 23-21 away. If the Celtics lost today and the Rockets won, interestingly, both teams would be 24-21 away. They'd have the same away records. That'd be if the Celtics lost and the Rockets won. So let's start there and let's look a little bit deeper at these games. That very well could be the riddle, but if we look deeper, we'll see if there's anything conflicting. Okay. Let's go to m cubed first. We'll use m cubed. We're going to look at our overall teams here. So the Celtics, start with Celtics and Bucks. Celtics are 371-278. So their next win won't be prime. What about their next loss? Is 279 a prime number? It is not. Okay, so there's that. So we don't see the prime thing going on. And the Milwaukee Bucks, their next win is 125. Remember, no even number or number that ends in 5 is prime. And their next loss is 101. Now, 101 is the 26th prime, and Celtics does equal 26. Remember, the opening game was a big 26 ritual. So I have the dates of the games written out here, and it looks like I screwed it up. Yeah, I did. I do my math right, so I got to make sure. All right, I did it right there. I did it right there. I just screwed up with the NBA. So it is 19 and not 28. That makes a big difference. So I'm just looking to see if any upcoming days in this series have a 26 connection. And unfortunately, they don't. Okay. That would have been helpful if they did, because we could say, oh, that would be a fitting day to pick up the 101st loss. Okay. But that 101st loss is definitely destined, and we're expecting the Celtics to win the series. At least I am. Oh, excuse me, you guys. I'm on the wrong team. I'm sorry. I had the wrong team highlighted. Okay, so the Bucks, the 101's not even there. Okay, they're at 115 wins and 131 losses. 131 is the 32nd prime. Boston does equal 32. So it makes me think, okay, if the Bucks won today, they'd go into Boston at 131 playoff losses. There's kind of some rhyme and reason to that. And they could pick up the next one there. So next win's 116, not prime. Next loss is 132, not prime. Both even numbers. So the overall series record, we can't really get anything from that today. All right, let's look at the head-to-head here. Milwaukee Bucks series records. Boston Celtics. So remember, they stated 118 wins on the 118th day of the year. The next loss against the Celtics is also 131. Very interesting. Again, that's the 32nd prime. Boston's 32. So it seems like that 131st loss would make a lot of sense in Boston. Did we have a 32 date upcoming? Well, the next one of those is in Milwaukee. I don't think Milwaukee's going to win both games in Boston. I can't envision that. So they could pick that up in Boston. Okay. Now, what's interesting here is notice the Celtics are at 73 home wins. If they, or did I say Celtics? Milwaukee is at 73 home wins against Boston. If they lost today, they would stay at 73 wins. We just saw the Carolina Hurricanes stay at 71 on the 71 date numerology. So that's another thing to consider. If Boston starts this series 2-0, Milwaukee does stay at 73 home wins against Boston on this date. And conflicting is that they're at 21 losses in the playoffs against Boston, against 73, the 21st prime, just like how Boston could pick up their 21st away loss today. So I'd say you got two riddles that favor Milwaukee and one that favors Boston here. The two that favor Milwaukee is staying at 21 losses in the playoffs and giving Boston the 21st away loss of the season. The riddle that goes for Boston is keeping Milwaukee at 73 home wins. Hold on, I got to grab the phone. It's away from me. Sorry, whoever just called, if you want to call back, I just caught that out of the corner of my ear. The phone was on vibrate in the other corner of the room charging, but I do have it next to me now. Okay. Let's look at the coaches and also just look at how star players line up with this game. Like we said, number 34 for the Bucks, he could have an interesting alignment that sheds some light. But so far, two positives for the Bucks, one positive for the Celts. And Brad Stevens coaching record. Last game was a perfect example of why I don't like to lead with the coaches. Like we talked about last game, the Celtics had the better riddle in records, but when you looked at the Celtics coach, it made it conflicted. He could have become 26-26 as a head coach on the 26 date numerology. He did not. He became 27-25. So today's going to be his 53rd playoff game. Remember, we have that 53 lesser date numerology. Hi, caller.
Hey, Zach, just want to call in with a quick observation on the Super Bowl. I saw an article today about Greedy Williams, just drafted from the Browns, has yet to play it down in the NFL, pretty much guaranteeing that the Browns are going to win the Super Bowl. So I'm thinking, who names their son Greedy? Greedy equals 64. This Browns last won the Super Bowl in 1964. The Super Bowl this year is on the 33rd day this year, and Cleveland equals 33. I've got a couple other things here. Williams equals 55. When you look out Super 54, it equals 257, the 55th prime number. Now, Cleveland Browns equals 61. And from Greedy Williams' birthday to the Super Bowl is 61 days. Also, that game was the numerology of 8. The Browns currently have the championship. And their last championship was 1964, so that was 56 years ago. When you write out 56, it equals 165 as Cleveland. Obviously, the Masonry Scottish football came out of Ohio, 165.
What was the name you were saying in the beginning? I didn't catch you saying Grady Williams.
His name is Greedy, just like you think. Like,
Greedy.
Wow, sir, you're very greedy. Yeah.
Greedy. Oh, Greedy Williams.
That's what I'm saying. Who names his son Greedy?
Yeah, that's a weird name, huh?
His birthday this year had the date numerology of 54. A couple things add up. You might want to look into it.
Okay, I see that this guy said they're going to the Super Bowl. Funny. Okay, I'll check it out.
Hasn't even played it down in the NFL yet.
Yeah, I'll look into it. We'll take a peek at this later in the broadcast. Okay, Greedy Williams says Browns are going to Super Bowl, so I'll definitely take a look. Anything's possible. So we'll look. All right, man. I appreciate the heads up.
Take care.
All right, see you. I'll be surprised if it's the Browns, but you just never know in the NFL. See how old Jim Brown is. We were able to call the Browns' losing streak based on Jim Brown last year, so I know Jim Brown would have to be synced up with it. Remember, the losing streak came to an end 216 days from Jim Brown's birthday. Cleveland, the 216 area code. And I think that game was over the Ravens, if I remember right. The team that the Cleveland Browns became the Baltimore Ravens. Go back and look to be sure. But okay, let's get back to what we were talking about. So Brad Stevens tonight, he could pick up his 28th win or his 26th loss. It is the 53rd game. That means all-time he's 297 and 247. And I'm pretty sure 247 is a prime number. No, it's not. Okay, I'm wrong about that. Okay. So the Bucs coach he's got a weird name. Gotta copy and paste it. There we go. All right, the Bucs coach. Ooh, for the career playoffs, he's at 21 wins too. So there's another thing that could go against the Bucs. And I don't like to lead with the coach's records, but the fact that he could stay at 21 wins in the playoffs on this 73 day, I'd count that as a half a point against the Bucs. So the Bucs are still leading here with the Riddles, but it's made it a little bit tighter. Milwaukee, he's 4-1. Okay. Let me come back here and look at the series ahead and just think about things in terms of what these teams are at. Again, the Celtics are at 54 wins, right? So their next total win on the season is 55, and Boston, Massachusetts equals 55. Let me see here. The Celtics' next home win is also their 31st, and Boston's 22, and if you use the rule for S, 31. So you could get a real nice Boston tribute if the Celtics lost today and won the next one. That's on May 3rd, 5-3. When you flip that date around, it can also be written 3/5. Celtics is 26, and the rule with S, it's also 35. Let's see. Thinking about what the records could be here. The Bucs could get their 15th away win, or excuse me, 15th away loss in this next game in Boston. 47 is the 15th prime, so you'd have a prime number relationship there with the Bucks picking up the 15th away loss. That's game 3, first one in Boston. Okay. And we were talking about how this series does potentially have a riddle to go to game 7, because if Boston wins the series, they would get their 57th win. And game 7's on a 57 date in Milwaukee. It's also a lesser date numerology of 37, and Milwaukee is 37. If Boston lost the series, they would also pick up their 37th loss. So very interesting how that is. But to me, it looks like the Celtics year, especially with this series beginning on the 118th day of the year. Celtics 118, John Havlicek 118. Milwaukee staying at 118 playoff wins in that game. So tonight's riddle, it's actually pretty tight. But I do got to say, you know what else I'm looking at now that I'm thinking about it? If Boston did lose tonight, they could get their 55th win right here, right? And then their next win would be their 56th. And notice they could get the 56th win on May 6th, 5-6. So there's actually some rhyme and reason to that. I do imagine them being at the 56th win of the season after May 6th makes a lot of sense. Does it go in that order, though? Does Boston drop tonight, pick up 55 in Boston? Again, Boston, Massachusetts, 55, and then 56th on May 6th. That would make them 3-1 in the series. Boston does have that 31 connection as well. Milwaukee, if they won this game back here in Milwaukee, it could make it 3-2. But we also have this note about how the Celtics could get the 25th away win if they won 2 out of 3 in Milwaukee. So they've already won 1, right? They've already won 1. So if they don't win tonight, if the Celtics don't win tonight, they would have a shot at getting the 25th away win right here. We're going to think about that. If it was 1-1, 2-1, 3-1, well, it's hard to imagine they would close out the series then. It's possible it could be closed out sooner than game 7. Boston and basketball are both 85. This date can be written 8/5. They'd close it out 4-1 if they did. So, All right. So there's some riddles on the board to think about there. Another thing, just looking at this, say Boston did win tonight. Again, the riddle's kind of tight tonight, tighter than I like. If Boston took the first 2, say they went up 3-0, Milwaukee playing with their backs against the wall, we have the riddle here how the Bucks could get their 30th away win of the season on the date numerology of 30. That could make the series 3-1. It's another path it could take, and maybe Boston could close it out 4-1. So, or no, excuse me, that would be wrong actually. If the Celtics, let's just imagine they went up 3-0 here and they drop this game 4 in Boston, making it 3-1. You know, they come in 3-0 in the series, got the date numerology of 30. The Bucks get their 30th away win, make it 3-1. It goes back to Milwaukee. Here I have this note about how the Celtics could get their 25th away win. If they did win these first 2 games, they'd already be at 25. So this would change to the Celtics could stay on 25 away wins. The series could get evened at 3-2 if Milwaukee got this one as well. So you'd have a 3-2 series then going back to Boston. Boston's 32. And again, Boston's also 85 like basketball, like Red Sox, big number in that city, like National Football League. So there's some things to consider. But whatever happens tonight, I think it's going to open up how these riddles are going to land for games 4 and 5 is what I'm saying. So tonight's tight. Whatever happens tonight should open up these riddles right here. Because if the Celtics did lose tonight, I would definitely like them winning right here. The next game in Milwaukee, game 5, picking up that 25th away win on the 25 date. That would be looking good. And again, that date's favorable to Boston. You could see the 3-2 series. That would actually make some sense. So we're going to keep looking, though. We're going to see if we can figure it out with the star players, how things line up. It's amazing how every time I start doing this live stream, this guy starts sending 1,000 text messages. Let's make sure this guy's not in the chat. This guy sends 3-word texts that don't mean anything. Maybe this is a troll. Maybe this is probably one of the trolls in the chat. God, trolls are so annoying. All right. Okay, here, let's look at the star players here. If I start typing his name in and it comes up Giannis, yeah, there he is. December 6th, he's 24 years old. December 6th to today. So today's 145 days, or is 146 day of his age. 145 is a big Catholic number. Boston's a big Catholic city, but this one's in Milwaukee. 220 days to the upcoming birthday. The 31 weeks and 3 days kind of stands out, like 313. That's the 65th prime number. If the Bucks won, they'd get their 65th win. About Kyrie Irving. He has the same birthday as the I forget the white guy that plays for the Celtics. They have the same birthday, though. They were both acquired in the same offseason. March 23rd. 38 days after his birthday, or his 39th day of his age. The 5 weeks and 3 days is interesting. We got the 53 date numerology. It's also a span of 5 weeks and 4 days. The Celtics are at 54 wins coming into this game. Just make sure there's not some gematria that I'm missing here. Bucks is 56. There is a game on May 6th. Bucks is 56, and this is the day they could get that 30th away win. So that's interesting. These teams continue to go back and forth. All right, let me break out the exceptions too. Remember the Celtics' next loss is 34. Milwaukee has that 53 connection too. Milwaukee's 53 today has the 53 date numerology. Milwaukee. Bucks, okay. Milwaukee won 2 more home games this year. They'd be at 37 home wins. Can Milwaukee's 37 is possible? Okay. Let me also just run this real quick. Reserve form is 64. The Bucks are at 64 wins on the season. Interesting. Also 145. We saw it was 145 days after Giannis' birthday. So there's another significance to 145. Reserve form 71 like Celtics. Celtics took the game one on the 71 day. Reserve 34 like Bucks. Like Giannis wears number 34. Okay. Let's see how these teams played each other in the regular season this year, too. Another big clue. See if there's some sort of losing streak or win streak going on. All right. So they played 3 games this year. The last game, interestingly, was on the 52nd day of the year. Okay, 52. The Bucks won by 1 point at home, tight one. This is interesting that the Bucks won with 120 at the Celtics on the winter solstice. Today's the 120th day of the year. So this game's in Milwaukee, not Boston. They also lost the first game. So 52nd day of the year. Today's the 120th. So it's 68 days later. Basketball 68. I got to check out how many days it is from this December 21st game, just because the score had to do with today's date. Caller?
Hey, Zach, it's Rob from Vegas.
Hey, man.
Hey, man, you just mentioned the 52 with that Boston game, right?
Right.
All right. Milwaukee's at 239 total playoff games, and that's a 52nd prime number.
Yeah, you're right about that.
So they're 238, and they'll get 239 with the it'll be the 239. But also with that, they're at 112 wins, which is the 30th prime. The Celtics.
Wait. 113 is the 30th prime.
Right. It's going to be if they win, they'd have 113 wins, right?
Which team is that again?
The Bucks. If they won, they'd have 113 wins.
Let me put it up here just to verify it. Are you saying in the playoffs?
Yeah, playoffs only.
Well, what I see on M Cubed is the Bucks are at 115 playoff wins and 131 losses.
All right, I'll go back and check my stats, but because the way I had it, the stats I've got, it lined up pretty well because it looked like Boston. See what Boston has on M Cube right quick for their total playoffs. Because I've got 616 games they've played.
Okay, boss. Well, I'd have to use my calculator real quick. It's got them at 371 wins and 278 losses. Here, let me just pull out the calculator real quick. Make sure my math's right. 371 plus 278 equals 649. So tonight I'll be 650.
All right, let me go back and check this then because I got different numbers and it lined up with the 113 2 times and the 52. So let me go back and double check this. My fault.
Okay, no problem, man. Thanks.
All right. Yep.
Easy to make mistakes in math. That's why you always want to double check. And just to add up the Bucks. So tonight would be the 247th game. In the playoffs for them. And remember that 131 thing. 131's the 32nd prime. And I'm just noticing that the game on December 21st to today is a span of 131 days. And again, we looked at that game because the Bucks won with 120 points, and here they are meeting on the 120th day of the year. 227 points in that game, the 49th prime. Interesting. Okay. So we can just run over this real quick. But see, that was the one thing that's like, their next loss is also 131. To me, it makes a little bit more sense for that 131st loss to come in Boston, though, just because 131 is the 32nd prime and Boston equals 32. We saw the death of the basketball player this year at age 32 in Boston on March 2nd in a shooting. Big 32 ritual. We also talked about how the next... Oh, did I get dyslexic with that? I did get dyslexic with that earlier. So Milwaukee's next win against Boston is their 15th. And the next game is on the 47 date numerology, game 3. So they could potentially get their 15th win on that 47 date. You could stay at 21 losses. Day on the 73 date, 73 the 21st prime. If that happened, the Bucks would go into this game with 30 away wins and probably stay there. Okay, that's interesting. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. We got a caller here. Caller.
Hey, Zach.
Yeah.
Okay, so Celtics last game against Bucks, they won by 22.
Right.
If they win tonight, it'll be the 22nd against the Bucks in the playoffs. That's a thought.
That's a thought too. And Boston's 22. That is a thought. Yeah.
So you got what? You got double sixes, right? They like the sixes.
Well, say that about the sixes again. What's that about the sixes?
No. If you add 22 plus 22 plus 22 is 6-6. They love sixes.
Okay.
That's all.
I see what you're saying. All right. All right. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. All right. So Celtics and Bucks is it's a tight one. We do have riddles going both ways. The most on the surface riddle, though, is the Celtics picking up their 21st away loss of the season on the 73 date. 73, the 21st prime. And with the Rockets, the way that riddle would go for them is they have 2 away losses in the playoffs. If the Rockets won tonight, they'd stay at 21 away losses. So let's look at the Rockets and Warriors and see if we can find something more clear here. We want to find at least one gem each day. I can't say that the Celtics-Bucks game is a gem. It's pretty tight again. Okay, Rockets and Warriors. So the Rockets right now are 57-31 total on the season. Remember, Oakland has the gematria of 58 as well as 31. So if the Rockets won, they would be 58-31, a fitting record while in Oakland. Away, the Rockets are 23-21. Again, they could stay at 21 losses on the 73 date, 73 the 21st prime. The Warriors are 62-27, meaning their next loss will be their 28th. Rockets does equal 28. At home, the Warriors are 32-13 for the season. In the opening series against the Clippers, they won 1 at home and lost 2. And remember, one of them was that 31-point comeback on the 31 date numerology, Oakland 31. So the 31 tonight would go in the Rockets' favor if they stayed at 31 losses, but we don't have a 31 date numerology today. Okay. All right, let's go to M cubed, NBA teams, series records. Houston Rockets. Remember, both teams came in with 153 losses. Golden State Warriors 153. Rockets are now 151 and 154. Golden State's now 181. Houston, Texas is 181. We talked about the possibility of this game being closed out in Game 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. Game 6 is right here. And just the reason we were saying that is because then they could be beat 4-2. Houston, Texas is 181, the 42nd prime. They could go down in Game 6, 4-2. There'd be a little riddle with that. And that could even be a clue from the first playoff win of this series being 181 for the Warriors. Houston, Texas, 181. Golden State Warriors, 153. Okay. The next home win for the Warriors is 1776. Does that sound like a familiar number? Let's see. The Rockets' next away win is 931. Let me see if that's prime. 931. No, it's not. Okay. NBA teams, series records. Oh, whoops, wrong thing. NBA teams, Golden State Warriors, series records. Here we go. All right. So the Warriors are 106 and 129. Remember, we talked about the significance of 106. Oracle Arena is 106 feet tall. Oakland, California equals 106. So they're at this magic number. The next win is 107, the 28th prime. Rockets is 28. The next win after that's 108. Oracle equals 108. So does Golden State Warriors. I want to assume that 108th win would come at Oracle. Think about how that could be. The series would have to be 2-2 going into Game 5 for the 108th win to come at Oracle. We talked about how if the Rockets split these first two games, it would set them up for an opportunity to get their 25th away win on May 8th, Game 5, which is a date with 25 numerology. So the Rockets would have to win tonight to make that possible. And the Warriors would stay on 32 home wins on the season if they lost tonight and this next game. So that could make a lot of sense in terms of the numerology if the Rockets won the next two in Oakland. If the Warriors lost tonight, they'd go into this next game in Houston with 28 losses. They could potentially stay on 28 losses. If they got a win, they'd take the series lead 2-1. And okay. So at home against the Rockets right now, the Warriors are 58 and 60. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Rockets has the gematria of 62. It does. If they lost two more at home, they'd have 62 losses at home against the Rockets. And I know Houston Rockets is 59. Their next win at home is the 59th. 59. And Warriors is also 59. So you have some overlap with that number. Warriors 59. And did any of these dates connect to that? No. Okay. What about just looking down the road here? You see this 50 for this second game in Houston? Look at the Warriors' away record against Houston. 48 and 69. If they won both in Houston, they'd get to 50 and 69, and they would do so on a 50 date. I'm going to make a note about that. Warriors could get 50th away win versus Houston if they win both in here. Okay, so that's interesting. So if that happened, the Warriors would be up 3-1. And consider Houston equals 31, so does Oakland. Again, they had that 31-point comeback happen against them, drawing some significance to the number. If caller?
Yo, what's good, Zach?
What's up?
Hey, are you going over the Rockets Warrior game right now?
I am.
Yeah, all right. So I got some information about that. So I'm seeing that the Warriors can get their 28th loss of the season.
You're right.
And today is Travis Scott's birthday, and he has connections to Houston. Having
Okay.
to do with Astroworld.
Okay. That's a good point.
Yeah, and there's also an article on ESPN.com about the ref, Scott Foster, who blew a bunch of calls in the game one. So
Okay.
he's going to be officiating in the second game. And, I mean, the video is about 1 minute and 6 seconds. So it's kind of iffy, but I'm kind of leaning Houston for this
Okay.
game.
Yeah, the trick is there's a riddle that sets up if Houston wins tonight. The trick is if the Warriors won tonight, the next game's on a date with 28 numerology, and they could theoretically pick up their 28th loss of the season there as well. So,
Yeah.
all right. But
Yeah.
the Houston rapper who was part of the Super Bowl, it's his birthday today. That's a good tip. And you said the same official who officiated game one, number 58, he's officiating tonight too?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Yeah, great tips. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, man.
All right, thanks.
Have a good one, Zach.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
Okay, so that's the trick. Do the Warriors pick up that 28th loss right here on the 28 date because they're at 27, or do they go into this game with 28? We see how if the Warriors went into Houston 1-1 and they won both of these games, they could get that 50th away win on the 50 date. And then Rockets, if they won tonight, they'd be set up for this riddle to pick up the 25th away win on the 25 date numerology to keep the series alive. They'd have to do that in Oakland. They'd make it 3-2. It would go back to Houston 3-2. Again, Houston equals 31 and 32. And the Warriors, I think, would have a real shot to close it out right here, 4-2, because Houston, Texas is 181, the 42nd prime. And again, the first win of the series was number 181. So, and then we also talked about how the Rockets could stay at 153 playoff wins. Golden State Warriors 153, just like how both teams came in with 153 playoff losses. Okay. So, there's one more thing to think about. Was there a 29 date numerology out here anywhere? I just see that the Warriors to win the series would need 109 wins, the 29th prime. I'm not seeing that though on the board. $109 wins in the series. Let me make sure I'm not missing something with that potential record. Golden State. Warriors. Warriors. Houston. Rockets. Caller?
Hey, Zach, what's up? It's Isaac from Tucson.
Hey, man.
Hey, I just that dude that just called about how the referee is going to be working, the same referee can work in game 2. Well, that minute is actually the video is actually a minute and 6 seconds exactly, just like 106. How you were talking about how Oracle Arena and don't the Warriors have like 106 losses or something like that, or wins or whatever.
They're at 106 wins against the Rockets right now.
Yeah, I just find that kind of interesting that the video is exactly 106, like 1-0, and then the 6 seconds. So it's kind of weird, but just want to let you know.
All right, appreciate that. Yeah, good heads up. Thank you. All right.
Bye-bye.
All right. One more thing I want to think about here. So 2 losses from now for the Warriors is 131, the 32nd prime, and we know Houston's 32. It looks like the game with the 32 date is right here. This one right here. So to me, the riddle that makes the most sense just looking at these numbers is if Houston did win tonight and won again in Oracle, and again the Warriors struggle at home and do better on the road. Because if that happens, then you can get the riddle here with the Warriors winning these 2 in Houston, staying at 28 losses on the 28 date. And if they win those 2, they get their 50th away win against Houston on a 50-date numerology. So that sets up a nice riddle. Or wait a minute. No, oh yeah, it is right here. It's the same thing. Yeah, so that would be the cleanest riddle. If Houston wins tonight, it sets this path perfectly. As long as Houston wins tonight, it sets up the path. Warriors can take 2 in Houston. Rockets would come back, win in Oakland. And also this part about how the Rockets could stay at 34 home wins if they were skunked at home on the 34-date numerology. And then the series would end 4-2. So the biggest concern against that riddle is, again, the fact that the Warriors are at 27 losses. And if they did win tonight, that would set them up for their 28th loss of the season on the lesser date numerology of 28. It would break this riddle here. But you could still possibly get back on track with the date numerology. Well, actually, it would break that riddle too. So it really does make the most sense if Houston wins tonight. This would follow the date numerology perfectly. So the only thing that would be missing is the Warriors would not be able to get that 108th, or what was it? No, that's not right. That's not right. With regards to the 131 thing too, about how the Rockets could finish with 131 wins against the Warriors. Don't forget Warriors, or it's Oakland actually. Oakland also has that 131 connection. That's part of the reason we had them finishing with 57 wins this year. When you write out 57, it's 131, like championship. And again, if that did happen, if it followed this path, that 131st win could come here in Oakland on the 32 date, where 131 is the 32nd prime, keeping the Warriors on 32 home wins. And that's where they are right now. So they'd have to drop the next 2 in Oakland to Houston. All right, so I would like to see Houston win tonight to set up this riddle. We'd have a good strong riddle to follow here. Potentially nail, as long as Houston won tonight, we could potentially nail these next 4 games in a row. We'd have a pretty good read. So let me check out the coaches and the star players as well to see how things go here. And actually, let's just look at what they did in the regular season. Rockets got off to that rough start while Harden was supposedly hurt. So Golden State struggled against Houston in the playoffs, going 1-3. James Harden, number 13. Houston went 3-1 from their perspective. Houston 31, Oakland 31. If Rockets won tonight and the Warriors won the next 2 in Houston, they'd be up 3-1. So Golden State lost by 21 at the beginning, by 1 point in overtime, by 6 points. So they lost both their games at home and won the last one at Houston with that 106 2-point game. So 2 very close games this year between these teams. March 13th, that was the 72nd day of the year, the day before Steph Curry's birthday. So the last game was the 120th day of the year, so 72. So it was 48 days ago, or a span of 49, Warriors 49. So Golden State struggled last year. I remember this game right here, this game that finished right at the basket. Warriors 121, Golden State 122. All right. So in their last 7 games, they're 2-5. Last 11 games, 5-6, 8-6, 12-6, plus the playoff game, 13-6. Okay, let's look at the coaches here. So Steve Kerr, 68-22. Oakland's 22. He picked up that 22nd loss on a 22-date numerology. And let's think about that. I was just so the next day with a 23-date numerology is Game 4 in Houston. We have seen Steve Kerr's last loss followed the date numerology pattern, so that's another thing. The Warriors would have to start the series 3-0 for that to happen. They'd have to win the first 2 in Oakland, Game 1 in Houston. They'd skip that 28th loss on the 28th date. That happened. Warriors would be up 3-1 going back to Oakland. Houston, 31. So that riddle's not as good as I don't think that's as good as this other riddle, but just thinking about how Steve Kerr got that 22nd loss on the 22 date in Oakland, 22. Just got to consider it. He's at 390 wins and 110 losses right now. Sure, 391's not prime. All right, and then Mike D'Antoni. Mike D'Antoni. Yes. I know that if he loses the series, he gets to 49 losses. Warriors 49. We've been talking about that. So he's 47 and 46 right now. His last game was his 93rd game. He lost in Oracle Arena 93. Let's see with Houston. With Houston, he's 21 and 13. Now remember, today does have that 73 date numerology, 73, the 21st prime. So D'Antoni could potentially stay at 21 wins. If he fell to 47 and 47, don't forget that this is the Warriors' 47th year in Oakland. They raised the banner, paying tribute to that on April 7th, 4-7. Also, the Philadelphia Warriors won the first championship in 47. They don't play on the 47 date numerology. That's the other series. But today also does have the today does have the 46 date numerology. Houston, Texas is 46. He could also stay at 46 losses on the 46th date. And Steve Kerr's riddle, not quite as interesting. If the Warriors did lose, if the Warriors did win today, we'd have to consider that the riddle is running through Steve Kerr, Steph Curry. And maybe he wouldn't pick up his 23rd loss until the game 4 date. Something else to mention about Steve Kerr is the fact that he is at 322 regular season wins to conclude this season. NBA Finals 57, the NBA Finals in Jewish Gematria 322. So could be another indicator. Both games on TNT tonight. And with regards to TNT, if you just use the 4-base ciphers, TNT has that connection to 9 and 27, also 54 like Oracle. The Bucks could potentially stay at 9 home losses, and the Warriors could also potentially stay at 27 losses on the season. Because remember, the next game is on a date with 28 numerology, and Rockets is 28. So we do got some tight riddles there. Again, that 73 date numerology, the 21st prime, Celtics could also stay at 21 away losses where they are right now. Or excuse me, the Celtics could pick up their 21st away loss. They're at 20. And the Rockets are the team that could stay at 21 away losses, regular season and postseason. So that seems to be the most on-the-surface riddle. That's what we went with 2 days ago in the NBA and NHL. There were 3 teams that had that prime number relationship. It was the 71 date, the 20th prime. 2 out of the 3 riddles came through. So, we'll go back and review everything. Again, I'll do the review video and I'll put everything in notes so you can look at it. But it is tight there in the NBA. Okay, Bruins and Blue Jackets. Bruins and Blue Jackets. Remember, there's a theme with these team names in these cities. Blue Jackets means Patriots. Patriots equals 118. Columbus Blue Jackets equals 118. I might have just misspoke. Patriots equals 118. Columbus Blue Jackets equals 118. We just saw the death of John Havlicek, the Boston sports star. His name equals 118, like Celtics equals 118. He played in Boston. He grew up in Ohio. So there's something definitely to that with this series. And remember, the Bruins came into this series with 53 wins. Their 53rd win was against Toronto, where the storyline was that Julian Edelman, the MVP of Super Bowl 53, chugged the beer. Columbus Blue Jackets equals 53 as well. So does Patriots. Patriots 53. Today, we're on the date with the lesser date numerology of 53. I think that's going to matter here. We've seen a lot of 118 in sports this year. The Boston Bruins don't have that 118 connection, but we talked about how if the Bruins were the team to win the Stanley Cup this year, which is possible, these NHL riddles are interesting, they would get their 322nd playoff win, old 322, a number that connects to Yale, which connects to Walter Camp, who established American football. And we know now that there's some football riddle running here with the Julian Edelman 53 thing. So things we're considering. The series is 1-1 right now. And following the numbers. So make sure I got my notes here. Put them down. All right. So the current records here. The Bruins are 54-28 on the season. Remember, Boston, Massachusetts is 55. If they lost these next two games in Columbus, they'd go back to Boston playing for their playoff lives, trying to get number 55. The Blue Jackets are 52-32. That means they could get their 53rd win today on the lesser date numerology of 53. Columbus Blue Jackets 53. Away, the Bruins are 22-16, meaning their next loss is their 17th. And at home, the Blue Jackets are 24-17, meaning they could stay at 17 losses and give the Bruins the 17th away loss. Don't forget, Ohio's the 17th state. And in light of the John Havlicek riddle, he was number 17. He died 17 days after his birthday. The Celtics have 17 championships. So the 17's really staring out at me there. Let me run the Gematria of Columbus again. Columbus. Yeah, Columbus is 25. So not only could the Blue Jackets get their 53rd win of the season, they could get their 25th home win today. That definitely stands out. And Columbus Blue Jackets, let me spell that right. Columbus Blue Jackets 53. John Havlicek 108-18. Havlicek 71. Okay. So the Blue Jackets riddle is looking pretty good to me on the surface right now. Blue Jackets is 28. The Bruins come in with 28 losses, also 71. Make sure I'm not missing anything here. Okay, Boston Bruins. Boston. Okay, I don't think so. Oops. Bruins. See it. 83, the 23rd prime. The Bruins' next away win would be the 23rd, 83, the 23rd prime, but that doesn't go with today's date. Let me scroll down here. All right. So here's the date. Wait a minute. This is a screw up. 73. 6/19/53. That's all right. Okay, May 2nd. 46/19/26. The only way I could see this 19 coming into play right here is if the Blue Jackets lost both games. They'd get their 19th home loss. If they lost this game and the next game, they could get that 19th home loss. I'll make a note about that. If Blue Jackets lost both home games, they'd get 19th home loss. So, and then again, you got this right here. Blue Jackets can get 53rd win of the season. That would break this riddle. Going back to Boston. I gotta pull up my other notes here. So the Blue Jackets away record, just looking at that next Boston game, they're 28-15 right now. They could stay on 28 away wins in that game if they lost there. And the Bruins are 32-12 at home. If this went game 7, no, that wouldn't add up. That wouldn't add up. All right, let me think about the next game back in Columbus for a second. So this next game in Columbus, well, not the next game, but this would be game 6 right here. After these next two in Columbus, game 6, the Bruins, right now their next away win is 23. If they dropped both of these games in Columbus, they could potentially stay alive right here. Or if they won one of these two, they could go into this game and stay at 23 away wins on a 23 day. So those are some things to consider. But yeah, the 53 is the number that's really screaming out at me today. Unfortunately, we don't have a relationship with any of the primary date numerology. Okay, let's also think. So the Bruins won their first series 4-3, and right now they're 1-1. So they're 5-4 in the playoffs. They're 5-4, and the Blue Jackets, they swept the Sharks and are 1-1. So right now they're 5-1. If they won today, they'd be 6-1. Ohio is 61. I don't think that there's a connection to Columbus with that, but Ohio is 61. Columbus OH is 51, like how they are right now. And we just said Boston's 5-4 right now. So they're at 5-4 playing in Columbus. Okay. The overlaps with the 17s, and that the thing that really does make the most sense to me is the Blue Jackets getting this 53rd win and the 25th home win. I see that tribute. Columbus 25, Columbus Blue Jackets 53, the lesser date numerology of 53. Both teams having a 17 in the loss column away and home, in light of Ohio being the 17th state, and the death of John Havlicek. 17 days after his birthday, the Boston star who grew up in Ohio. The only thing that's concerning is right here. It's just the possibility of the Blue Jackets dropping 2 in a row and getting that 19th home loss on the 19 day. If the Blue Jackets win today, that's not possible. Okay. That next game in Boston is on a date with 28 numerology, and the Blue Jackets are already at 28 wins on the season. So I'm thinking that the Blue Jackets probably would drop that next game in Boston. So if they won 2 and, well, think more about that. Okay. Okay. Let's look at the coaches here and the goalies. Bruins coach Bruce Cassidy. He's 14 and 19 all time right now. We saw that these next 2 games, today and the next game, both have 19 date numerology. So if the Bruins could win these games, Bruce Cassidy would stay on 19 playoff losses through both of those 19 numerology dates. He would get his 16th win in Columbus Blue Jackets 53, the 16th prime. Okay. So it's interesting how that lines up. That said, if he drops 2, as the Boston coach, if he drops the next 2 games in Columbus, he'd be at 17 losses. 17 losses. Ohio, the 17th state, the big Havlicek number. And let's see. Blue Jackets coach. Let's see. He just won in his 106th game, if I remember right. So again, Columbus 106. He just got the win in his 106th game. It was his 51st playoff win. Boston Bruins 51. He stayed at 55 losses. Boston, Massachusetts 55. The other thing we're saying about the Bruins, if they dropped both in Columbus, they wouldn't be able to get their 55th win until they went back to Boston. And that game is already looking like a good one for them to win because they'd keep the Blue Jackets at 28 away wins on a 28 date numerology. If he can win 2 at home, he'll have 53 wins. Columbus Blue Jackets 53. Go back to Boston on those 55 losses. And with Columbus right now, he's 8 and 9. 8 and 9. This Jackets. See. Something that could go against him today is the fact that we have this 19 date numerology. That is the 8th prime number. If he lost today, he would stay at 8 wins. So that is something to consider. Let's look at the goalies here. NHL starting goalies. All right, let's see. So he is 40 and 34 for his career. He lost in his 74th game. You didn't get that 74-33 riddle. Could have stayed at 33. Let's make sure I'm reading this right. 265 wins and 150 losses regular season. So that means for his career, he's 295 wins and 184 losses. His next loss is 185th. Basketball is 185 in light of the John Havlicek riddle. Oh, no, I did the math wrong, didn't I? He's at 305 total wins and 184 losses. 305, 184. Okay. Well, real quick, I should verify at all these sites that they do have the right goalies here. Just make sure all three sites are in agreement. What's going on here? Okay. Okay, that's what they just said, right? Tukin, Sergey. Okay, that's what they're thinking. And this site also agrees. Looks like they're in agreement on all four goalies. Yeah, they all have the same goalies. Okay. Let's check out his stats. In the playoffs, he is 10-15. Now, the scare here is, notice he could get his 16th career playoff loss. We do have the lesser date numerology of 53, the 16th prime. In Columbus Blue Jackets is 53. They are playing for their 53rd win today. So we have a goalie and coach riddle that favors the Bruins. The Boston coach, again, could stay at 19 playoff losses. That was Bruce Cassidy. And the next two games fall on 19 dates, including today's game. And now we see that the goalie for Columbus could get his 16th loss on this 53-date numerology. That's curious. For his career, he's at 168 losses and 265 wins. Remember that story we saw about the Christopher Columbus replica ship sinking, the La Nina? That story was from April 23rd, the 113th day of the year out of Corpus Christi. And if I remember right, Corpus Christi is 113. The 30th prime, this game on the 30th. That's also in the back of my mind. Just look at those Bruce Cassidy coaching stats. Make sure I was right about that, about him being at 19 playoff losses. Yeah, he is. All right. Okay, so 53-date numerology, Columbus Blue Jackets 53. They could get their 53rd win of the season. It would be a perfect day. It would give them their 25th home win. Columbus equals 25. It would make them 25-17 at home. Columbus 25, Ohio the 17th state. It would make the Bruins 22-17. And again, I want to check one more thing. I would say that if Columbus wins today, I imagine they probably take both of these games right here at Columbus, and I would think Boston would have a good shot at winning this third game in Columbus, Game 6, because the Bruins would be playing for their 23rd away win on a 23-date numerology. The safe move might be to watch tonight's game, because as long as Columbus wins, I think it sets them up to win here. Boston win here, back in Boston. And wait, did I say that wrong? If Columbus wins tonight, I think they win the next game in Columbus. Boston comes back and wins at home, and then also wins game 6, potentially setting up a game 7. Remember, Bruins is 43, so it's another reason to believe in that 4-3 series decider. And the date numerology for game 7 is very interesting too, because Columbus is 25 and Boston's 32. So the numbers are there for a potential game 7. The way that would look is Columbus, if they won today, they'd jump out to a 3-1 lead, fall back to 3-2 in Boston. Boston 32, they'd get their 55th win of the season, Boston, Massachusetts. As long as they drop both games in Columbus, again, I'll make the note here. Boston could get 23rd away win of season. And you got that 23 date numerology. They're at 22 right now. So then we'd be at game 7. Columbus wins tonight again. They're 6-1 at home. Ohio is 61. Or they're 6-1 in the playoffs, I meant to say. All right, Sharks and Avalanche. The Sharks are 57-31 on the season. Is that right? That's what I wrote down here. Wait a minute. I think my writing's bad. Maybe they're 51-31. 51-31 sounds more like it. Yeah, they're 51-31. My writing was sloppy. All right, so Sharks are 51-31. And the Avalanche are 43-32. Remember, that's an overlap number. San Jose 43, Colorado 43. And it's the first game back in Colorado. The Sharks for the season away are 22-18. We have a 19 date numerology today. The Sharks could get their 19th loss away on this 19 date. And the Avalanche are 23-14 at home. So it's going to be the Avalanche's. Or no, that's not true. Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, brother Zach, you doing the hockey?
Yes.
So listen, I saw something interesting. I sent you a quick video, right? I guess as the Decode was starting. Barry Trotz, the coach from the Islanders, the comments after the Game 2 loss to the Hurricanes. He talked about an unseen hand that was they were fighting. So I ran the Gematria on unseen hand, 105, 42, 165, and 48. Masonry run all over it, brother.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. Unseen hand. Perfect.
All right, check it out when you get a chance, my brother. Peace.
Will do. Thank you so much. Let's see. Am I spelling his name right? Barry Trotz. Unseen hand. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, we know what that unseen hand is. If you guys missed my video about that crazy hockey goal that had to be technology inspired, which ESPN was showing and asking if the hockey puck was a warlock, which is a type of magician, you should go back and watch that video. All right, I'll look at that 2 days ago. Okie dokie. So Sharks, they can get the 19th away loss on the 19 date. And that's what I like to see. Again, these types of riddles hit a lot. They don't hit every time, as we saw yesterday with Dallas, but they definitely hit more often than not. And the Avalanche, 23-14 at home. Okay. You know what? I don't think I... Hold on, you guys. I think I forgot to do some things with... Before we go into this game, I think I forgot to do some things with the Bruins and Blue Jackets game. My fault. I think I forgot to do some of the basic things here. Let me go back and finish this game right. All right, Boston Bruins 311, 319, and 7 overall. Columbus Blue Jackets 10 and 17. So they could stay at those 17 playoff losses as well. Again, we were talking about how the 17s could really line up if the Blue Jackets won today. And again, John Havlicek just died in that 17 ritual. He connects Boston and Ohio. Okay. NHL teams. Columbus Blue Jackets. Series records. Boston Bruins. Yeah, I totally forgot to do this. So there we go. So if Columbus wins today, they would stay at 19 losses against Boston as well. Could stay at 19 losses. At home, they're 7 and 9. They could get their 8th home win today. Today does have the 19 date numerology. 19 is the 8th prime number. So it would be a good day to get the 8th home win and stay at 19 losses. And first ever playoff series. Okay. So again, I'm going to put up the review video and just look at everything we're looking at. The big scare with the 19 is the Boston coach, Bruce Cassidy, how he's at 19 playoff losses. And again, both are the 2 games that fall in Columbus. They're both on 19 dates. But I was saying it would make a bit more sense if Columbus won both of these. Well, if they lost today, they'd be in trouble because they could also get their 19th home loss of the season if they lost both. But right here, because of this, if Columbus wins both, it would set up the Game 6 Columbus riddle with Boston getting that 23rd away win of the season on a 23-day. So I would love to see Columbus win these first 2, because then I think Boston is, in really good shape to get that 55th win of the season back in Boston, Massachusetts, 55. Come back and steal Game 6, make it a 3-3 series, and send this thing to Game 7. And that would definitely be a tight call who's going to win this series because, again, the Patriots thing, the Blue Jackets thing, the overlap in the numbers, this would be a tough call. But if Columbus wins tonight, I'm going to be looking for Columbus to win this one right here. Because just think about it. Columbus could stay at 19 losses through both of these 19 dates. So it's like tonight's going to open up which way things are going. I would say that if Boston won tonight, we'd still be able to really see it because then Boston would be at 23 away wins. And I would imagine that they would not win here and they would not win here and stay on those 23 away wins and still get us back to the Game 7 riddle. But it really does make a lot more sense if Columbus takes it tonight, tomorrow, and then Boston gets that 55th win back at home, 23rd away win right here. That's the riddle that makes the most sense to me. That looks like the cleanest path following the numbers. So, yeah, I almost missed something crucial there. Again, staying on 19 losses on the back-to-back 19 dates in Columbus, getting that 8th win tonight, 19, the 8th prime, 8th win at home. So I think Columbus has a little bit better riddle. Personally, when I like a riddle, I always like it better when the riddle lines up for the underdog team because then you can always take the cover, and then if you win in a close game. When the riddle lines up for the favorite, I never like it quite as much because then you got to bet money line to not get beat on the spread, and then if they do lose in a close game, then you're out too. So I always prefer a game where the riddle's with the underdog. Those are my favorite ones to go for. But I do got to say, things line up better for the Blue Jackets tonight. The 53-day, 53rd win of the season, Columbus Blue Jackets 53, 25th home win, Columbus 25, setting up those 17s in light of the John Havlicek thing. So I think if Blue Jackets win tonight, we're going to have a nice rest of the series to call it because that'll also bust up the thing for the Bruins coach, which is the biggest threat to the Blue Jackets winning tonight. him staying at 19 losses in these back-to-back 19 games. Again, I don't like to lead with coaches, but sometimes it is the coach. Okay, now back to this Sharks and Avalanche game. We saw right away that the Sharks could get their 19th away loss of the season on this 19 date. So there's a 19 right in our face. And I guess we'll just go here to the M Cube 2. NHL team series records. San Jose Sharks. Okay, they're 114 and 116 in the playoffs. And the Colorado Avalanche, 143, 127. Now, 127 is the 31st prime, and Avalanche is 31. There's some symbolism to them being on that loss. Let me see if there's anything to 143. San Jose Sharks. See it. Sharks. Columbus. Oh, whoops. Colorado. Avalanche. Don't see it. Okay, I don't see it. Avalanche is 67, the 19th prime, to play on that 19 one a little bit more. Again, the Sharks going for the 19th away loss. NHL teams, Colorado Avalanche, series records. San Jose Sharks. So it's dead even, 59-59. At home, 32 and 24. Make sure there's not a 24 connection here. I don't think so. Just the thing I was thinking about the 24 just is that if the Avalanche won today, they'd get their 24th home win and stay at 24 losses against the Sharks. Notice the series is 13-14 in the playoffs. That means if the Avalanche won, it would be 14 and 14. 43 is the 14th prime number. The last game was 4-3. San Jose's 43. Colorado's 43. 43, the 14th prime. So you could make some sense of a 14-14 series. Seems to me that the home teams have a little bit better riddles tonight. Let's also look at the coaches here. Or actually, let's also just look down the road. So the thing about 19 is, again, the Sharks could pick up their 19th loss tonight. That would mean if they, well, something else to consider. Something else to consider about that is if they didn't get it tonight, the next game does fall on a 19-date numerology as well. So that is something to consider. If they didn't get it tonight, they could get it in the next one. But I kind of like both teams being at 14 and 14 in light of the overlap with 43 and the last game being 4-3 score. Okay. That is something to consider, though. Sharks. We saw how in this game 5, Colorado could get their 21st away win. That's back in San Jose. Right now they're at 20 away wins. They're 20-18 away right now. Just think about this. The next game back in Colorado, 50, 23, 30. Well, the one thing I could say about that is if Colorado dropped both of these games, if Colorado lost both of these games, which would be a surprise, I'd be surprised if the date numerology missed 2 times. But if Colorado did lose both games, again, there's a lot of reason to believe the Sharks are going places this year. But imagine the Colorado lost these 2 games. It's hard for me to imagine, but if they did, they'd be coming into this game in Colorado. Well, they'd have to stay alive here in this Sharks game, and there is reason to believe that they would. They'd be coming into this game right here at 23 home wins on the season on a 23 date. So that is one thing to consider. San Jose, game 5. Sharks at home. This is another series that could easily go 7 games. You have the overlap with 43. Colorado and San Jose, both 43. Okay. So I'm just thinking about what the home record could be here if Avalanche did win the next one in San Jose. See if we can make sense how this all might line up. The Sharks at home right now are 29-13. So there's actually not a number alignment in that game. It's not a number alignment. The Avalanche are 20-18. Yeah, we wouldn't get the date numerology alignment for the season head-to-head. $27.35, 28. Yeah, we're not going to get a date numerology for Game 7 if it goes there. It'd have to be something else, the coaches or something, goalies. Okay, let's look at the coaches here and the goalies as well. Sharks coach, he's the guy with the 113 name, 113, the 30th prime, game on the 30th. Okay. 74th game. That 74-33 thing does happen a lot. Not always, but it happens a lot. I'm just seeing that the coach of the Sharks, in his 74th game, he could get his 33rd playoff loss. The goalie for Boston just avoided that riddle. But this is something that does happen more often than not, 74-33. Get us that Masonic pairing. The hidden hand or the unseen hand. Well, law of averages says this is going to happen right here, 74-33. That's got to hit at least 70% of the time. I wish it went with the date numerology though. Okay. Something I should look at is the arena names. Colorado Avalanche Arena. Where do they play? Oh, they play in the Pepsi Center too, where the Nuggets play. That makes sense. Pepsi Center's got the 67, the 19th prime. Again, the problem is the next 2 games are on 19 dates. The Sharks pick it up today. They'd go into the next game sitting on 19 losses. Okay. And what about where the Blue Jackets play? I should look at that too real quick. Nationwide Arena. It was named after a corporation. 153, the 17th triangular. Remember, we were looking at all those potential 17 riddles. Okay. So the Sharks coach can do the old 74-33 thing with a loss. And the Avalanche coach, that's what I need. Avalanche coach. He is 7-6. I don't think we have a connection to that. Sharks. 78, 87. Is he right now? I could go either way. That could go either way. Oh, he's 7-6 in the playoffs while facing the Sharks. Sharks 76. That's nice. Sharks is also 86 if he won tonight. He'd be 8-6 after going 7-6. But with the other way around, can't just get too excited about that. If he dropped 2 in a row, it would be 7-8. Trouble imagining that though. If you split them, he'd be 8-7. And the goalies. Starting goalies. Let's see what's going on here. Jones. Okay, so interesting for him that he's at 21 playoff losses. Again, we have the 73-date numerology, the 21st prime. That's something that could go in his favor, staying at 21 losses. Don't like to lead with the goalies. I usually like when the goalies line up with everything else we're looking at. Like yesterday we had that, but then it didn't come through. Again, yesterday with the Dallas Stars, we had 27-date numerology. Dallas Stars equals 27. They were going for their 27th home win. Their goalie was going for his 27th playoff win. Didn't come through. But sometimes it's that way. 5-3. He could become 5-4. We do know that Columbus, Ohio. Or no, that's the wrong. Sorry, that's wrong. Caller.
I'm thinking based upon the Von Miller article, if we're reading it correctly, Colorado's gonna hang it. Colorado's gonna have him, and then they're gonna let it slip away. So I'm thinking Colorado's gonna be up 3-2, and then they let it get away. San Jose wins 4-3 in the series.
That would make a lot of sense. That again, for people who don't know, there was the Von Miller article that came out right before the series about how he caught a shark, but he let it go. So yeah.
I'm thinking Colorado looks really good for 5, as you've been deciphering. I think tonight's it looks like a maybe wait and see game.
Yeah, I think in all of the playoff games tonight, what happens is going to really open up a pretty good path if things go the way we expect for a lot of good picks for the rest of these series. So.
Yeah, it seems like that. But I just wanted to share what I think is probably going to happen correlating to that article.
It makes sense. The Denver Star catches the shark and lets him go. So. Yeah.
It seems like that's going to be the riddle here for the Sharks moving forward.
It very well could be. So, yeah, great point. I appreciate that.
All right, Zach. Talk to you later.
Thanks. I forgot to make the note here. Sharks could get 23rd away win of season. If the Sharks drop both of these in Colorado right here, I would think they're destined to win this one. So that's the way it could happen. Right now it's 1-1. Colorado could make it. Wait a minute. 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 Or that would be more like it. Perhaps they split here because, again, both games have the 19-date numerology. The Sharks' next away loss is 19. So maybe they pick it up tonight, and then they stay at 19 away losses in the next game. Then Colorado, they could get their 21st away win in this game, which would be Game 5 in San Jose. They'd get their 21st away win on the 21-date numerology. That would put them up 3-2. Then maybe the Sharks come back to Colorado. And actually, no, that couldn't. Shoot. That couldn't be. What am I missing here? No, something's going to be off about this riddle. It's 1-1 right now. If it was 2-2 here. Okay, if it was 2-2 exiting here, this is how this could work. Colorado goes up 3-2. The Sharks come back and make it 3-3. And, I would have to favor the Sharks to win in light of all the Shark headlines. Again, the Sharks, the only team that finished the regular season with 101 points. And that where they play SAP Center or whatever it is equals 101. We checked that out earlier, too. Again, this will be the 101st Stanley Cup. But, yeah, Game 7 just makes so much sense in this series with the overlap at 43. San Jose 43, Colorado 43. So it looks like these teams are going to split here in Colorado following the 19-date numerology pattern. San Jose is going to pick up their 19th away loss in one of these two games. To me, it would make a little bit more sense for them to pick it up tonight. We saw how the playoff record would be 14-14 against each other. 43 is the 14th prime. You can see why they would tie it there at that number. So imagine they get the 19th loss on the 19 date. Then they come into this game with 19 away losses. They stay on it. Then it goes back to San Jose. Colorado gets their 21st away win of the series, goes up 3-2. Sharks come back on the 23 date. Actually, damn, no, hold on. You know what? If it didn't go that way, the Sharks wouldn't get their 23rd away win here. They'd come in on 23. They would get their 24th away win to stay alive, which is okay because when you come in on the number, it's no guarantee you're going to stay there. But that does seem to be a path that makes a lot of sense. They'd have to split here for San Jose to get that 21st away win here and follow the date numerology. Otherwise, they would close out the series here. And again, Sharks just seem like a team that have a good riddle for the Stanley Cup this year. They were dominating the NHL at the beginning of the season, the Sharks, before they kind of fell off. But now they've found their stride in the playoffs a bit. So, and also what we just saw here with, do I have the right thing up? The Sharks, or excuse me, the Avalanche could also get their 33rd win tonight, giving the Sharks coach his 33rd loss in his 74th game. Again, that 33-74 pairing is something else. So, all right. And when I do the review, I'll have all this written down cleanly on paper, so it's easy to look at all of it and do your own analysis in case you disagree with what I'm looking at. Let me get that other. Where did that other starting goalie go? Philip Grubauer. There. What's up, Izzy?
Hey, how's it going, Seth? I just want to throw in some interesting tidbits of information. So we got two Boston teams playing for the playoffs tonight. We got the Bruins and the Celtics. They're playing at the same time, and they both listed as underdogs. That's something, so either, they both lose or they're, one win or one lose. So that's something really interesting. That's put that out there.
I notice in sports, sometimes they do both win or sometimes they both lose, but it seems that more often than not, there's a trade-off and one wins and one loses.
Okay. And also, one thing also, this is something kind of funny. Steve Kerr was talking to reporters, and he was like trolling the Rockets. He flopped into a reporter saying, "Oh, foul," kind of like joking because the Rockets are kind of are putting a lot of pressure on the officiating. So I'm thinking maybe the Rockets might win tonight. So, but that's something, And then there came a report in 2016, and then it's kind of contradictory. Steve Kerr was then complaining about the officiating. So it's kind of, how it is. It's just, it's funny that way. Couple years, you're complaining about the officiating, and then like 2 years later, we should let it ride.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm just letting you go with that. All right.
All right. Appreciate it, Izzy. Thanks, man.
All right. Bye.
Okay, so check this out with the goalie for this team, Philipp Grubauer. He can become 5-3 on the season. Now, remember, we have the lesser date numerology of 53. But notice for his career, he can become 7-3, and that's the more significant date numerology. Can become 7-3 tonight for his career in the playoffs. So, I mean, there's a chance at 53, but the 7-3 is the stronger number, or 73 is. So I'd be more inclined to go with that riddle. I just don't like that both of the riddles are stacking a little bit better for the home teams. I always prefer to, or the favorites, I should say. I always prefer it when it's the riddles with the underdogs. It's a better payout, and there's more ways to win. But that is the way things are looking for the playoff games. So let's scan the MLB real quick, and then I'll put up the review video, and I'll have it all written down and all those notes so you can go over them, because there's a lot of different things we're looking at. Just take a quick scan of baseball and see if anything's screaming out. We do have the 19-date numerology. You can see if baseball's getting in a groove. If the 19s come through, could the Cardinals get their 19th win? That would keep them at 10 losses in their 29th game. 29 is the 10th prime. Something to watch in that Cardinals game tonight. The Phillies got to that magic number, 11-5. It's the year of the 115th World Series. And is it Philadelphia that has the 115 connection? Yeah, Philadelphia 115. Okay. The Reds, I see the Reds with a loss tonight would become 5-11, that prime number relationship, 11 the fifth prime. The primes haven't been so great in baseball, but that's this year. This year. I mean, traditionally primes in sports are great, but just baseball is so weird this year. Started off just fine again, but it got weird. Let's see. Athletics and Red Sox. I know Boston's 77. So is Red Sox when you flip the alphabetic order around. Boston 77. Red Sox 77. So can the Red Sox do the 7-7 thing? The Marlins are at that 5-11, the prime number. It's going to be their 29th game. Hard to say. Check something real quick. Padres have that 99 connection. I thought so. If the Braves lost tonight, they would be 9-9 against the Padres. Remember they did that against the Arizona Diamondbacks too? Arizona Diamondbacks 99. Remember that series? They were 9-6 and they lost 3 straight and became 9-9. So Padres 99. I think Braves is 95 and they're 9-5 against the Braves right now. Braves 95. So I'll watch that to see if they become 9-9, just see if we get some riddles back. Brewers, Rockies. Got Milwaukee going in basketball tonight. There'd be some riddle. The 17, I suppose. Colorado going in the NHL. The Twins had a shot at that 8-5. They didn't do it. They went 9-4. Again, when you write out 94, it's 147 like Houston Astros. Well, I suppose there's some rhyme and reason to it. Pittsburgh Pirates is 105, if I remember right. Pittsburgh Pirates, yeah, 105. I see if the Rangers lost, they would be 10-5. It's the fitting opponent. And Red Sox could go anywhere from there. The Royals would have to lose 3 straight at home to have any type of prime number relationship. No guarantee that's going to happen. Here's some more decoding. Diamondbacks, Yankees. Diamondbacks have that 96 connection we just talked about. The Yankees would have to lose 2 to the Diamondbacks to get to 9-6. If the Yankees were to lose today, that'd be something to keep an eye on. If they were 9-5 after today, I'm sure they play again tomorrow. Yeah, they do. Be something to keep an eye on. And again, Arizona and Diamondbacks are both 42. The divisors are 42, some to 96. World Series matchup from 2001. Dodgers and Giants. Dodgers won the World Series in 88. Last year, the season began on the 88th day of the year. Something to keep an eye on. Blue Jays and Angels. Little abstract. Blue Jays equals 49. And when you write out 49, it equals, or actually it's when you write out 77. That's what it is. When you write out 77, it's 49 like Blue Jays. They became 7-7. Caller?
I want you to get done with hockey and we're going to baseball. I started looking, you were talking about remember Robert Clyde Jones, 89, played for the Nuggets and the Sixers. So I bet the Sixers last night, and when they won, I went and bet the Nuggets.
There you go. That was a good thought. And they both had good riddles yesterday too. I mean, they both had the better riddles. So
right, they did. So I was going on your riddle, and then looking at that, saying, okay, let's see if this wins. Then I'm going to like the Nuggets more.
There you go. Yeah, that was a smart thought.
They're not playing again until May 7th. So they don't play it again the same day. So I'm going to be watching it the same way.
Okay. PGA 57.
And I think you're looking ahead at these series is everything. It's critical because you kind of have to see where the pattern's going.
Right. And I can tell you what, if all 4 games go the way today we're leaning, I think we're going to be able to really ace these series. But it's all a matter of what happens today. So.
All I'm going to throw you one more nugget on golf. Rory was on a podcast, said he was crying when Tiger won.
Huh.
You know, how happy he was and everything else.
Huh.
And the article on golf was Rory, and it said "Spirit of Earl Woods"
Huh.
in quotes. So you know I had the gematria of that. Go gematria that up.
Okay. Yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting.
So,
All right. Let me put it up here. Rory McIlroy crying Tiger. Who was the story by?
it was on the Golf Channel.
Golf Channel. I see it. Rory confesses he cried after Masters collapse.
Right.
Okay.
Well, no, but he's talking about when Tiger won, he was crying this past week. But the article had, in quotes, spirit of Earl Woods.
Spirit of Earl Woods. And we talked about how Earl Woods died 59 days from his birthday. Tiger and Woods, 59.
And type in spirit of Earl Woods in gematria.
All right, Spirit of Earl Woods. Let's see. Spirit of Earl Woods. 89, huh? 89. Amazing. It's amazing how that just keeps coming up.
But the 16, you know, remember we were talking before. I know you're getting ready for the shot. You're going pretty fast. Remember we were talking before the Masters about their match they played, right? And that how Rory did this ridiculous collapse on the hole.
Right.
That was the 16th hole, going back to the 16 years old, you know, 61 when he was 16. But if you go back and watch that hole, you have to go. Anybody who's watching this is going to bet on. You have to go back and watch Rory play that 16th hole. It is the most ridiculous. He hits a 400-yard drive, and he's like going to he makes triple. And the announcer's like, "Oh my God, how did he do that?" But in the article of the recap of the thing, it said it couldn't be scripted, and it couldn't be scripted any better. They were facing each other in the round of 16.
Huh. Something else.
But the way he played the hole, he hit a 400-yard drive, and he was like making triple.
Right.
Like he just completely like hit a wedge, like off the. I'm talking about a wedge for a pro. He hit it 1 out of every 10,000 shots. Like he couldn't hit it that bad.
Sure.
It was so bad, and then he got in a bad spot, and he tripped over the green out of bounds, and he hit another one bunker, and it was like. But it was on the 16th hole in round of 16, and Sweet 16 equals 16th hole equals 61.
There you go. Yeah, you saying that also reminds me how they built up the suspense for Tiger's last hole because he hit a bad shot on his approach to the green. So, yeah.
But I go back to that. I think that then, but I look at these series. They're good to look at. I hadn't really bet that many games, but I bet games last night because I liked your riddles, and I bet, and I saw the Robert Clyde Jones thing.
There you go.
The Celtics series is they won by 22 the other night. Shocking, right?
Right, Boston.
I mean, 112. That game was ugly, and of course, Giannis scored 22 points. We know that.
There we go.
But I'm trying to look up the Columbus thing that Shipton went down. I was trying to look at the old series, 92 series, but I didn't get anything come up like the 92 NHL playoff series. If something told me something from there, but I didn't see anything. But
why were you thinking 92?
Because it says that's where those ships were. That ship was built. That one that sank.
I see.
So, but that's why you have to go down all these rabbit holes, right?
Okay. So that would have been 27 years ago. Right.
Something going on in 92 that would have lined up this year, different things. But the Tigers' odds are going down big time on the PGA. They keep sliding.
Well, I guess that looks good for the people who got their picks in.
All right, Mel, you roll.
All right, appreciate it. All right, so Spirit of Earl Woods, 89, Grand Slam, 89. It's been 89 years since there was a Grand Slam, the one and only. We got the tip about the story with Samuel L. Jackson, the movie where he's a golfer, and his name is Elmo McIlroy, and the way it's spelled equals 89. I mean, what's going on here? So the riddles are very tight today in the NBA again. I'm going to put out the review video, and I'm going to write everything down so you have the notes to go over and analyze yourself. And again, when I do the review video, I'm just going to show you the road ahead for each series and what I'm expecting tonight. But again, it's tight. If we get our riddles to hit tonight, I think it's going to pave the way for some really good picks for the rest of all of these series here. So Celtics and Bucks, both Boston teams are playing tonight. That's going to be something to think about. And Rockets at Warriors, and then the 2 NHL games too. So stand by. I will have that review video uploaded. If you got here late, feel free to rewind this video, and you can just watch how we broke it down. But I'm going to put together a nice, clean review video with all the notes to make it as clear as possible. So, and then remember those baseball riddles to potentially watch too. So some baseball riddles are still coming through. Might be able to snake some good picks here and there if we can iron some things out. But I'll be right back as quick as I can with the review video. Just got to write everything down, record the video, and upload it. So look for that. Shouldn't be more than an hour. Should be within the hour. All right. Good luck, True Seeker. Till next time.